Hey guys! Waiting for something you're looking forward to kind of stinks, doesn't it? I mean, it's so hard to wait with a good attitude. Do you guys struggle with waiting patiently, like I do sometimes? Watch this. Whoa! That dog Bailey got to have the treats because he waited patiently until it was time to eat them. I'm not sure I could wait like that for something I really wanted. You know, if I were to wait for all of this sand to move to the bottom, it would take an hour. And when we really don't want to wait for something, we might get impatient, angry, nervous, or have a bad attitude. And let's be honest, most of us don't wait very well, do we? We might struggle with those feelings I just mentioned, or maybe we get mad at God because we feel like He's taking too long to do something. Well, Ecclesiastes 3:1 says this, "For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven." Even though waiting with a good attitude can be tough, this verse reminds us that God has a plan, and we can trust that His timing is best. We can wait on God's timing. Say that with me. We can wait on God's timing. We can trust God's timing because He is Lord over all things. Being Lord means to have power or authority. So since God is Lord of all, that means He is the ultimate ruler of everything, and we can trust that His timing is perfect. Let's take a look at part of Abraham's true story when he had to wait for something. Watch to see if you can tell how God proved He was Lord of all in Abraham's life.
Stories of the Bible. God's promise for Abraham.
This is Abram, who later will be known as Abraham.
Hey!
When Abram was in the land called Canaan, God told him to look over the land as far as his eyes could see. God promised that the land would be blessed and that Abram would have many children.
Oh!
25 years passed. Abram and Sarai were very old and still had no children. God appeared to Abram and said, "Do not be afraid. I am your shield. A son is coming. Look at the heavens and count the stars. Someday, you will have as many children as there are stars in the sky."
Years later, Abraham and Sarai still had no children. God appeared to Abram again and told Abram that his name would no longer be Abram, but it would be Abraham, which means father of many nations.
Ah!
God also told Abraham that Sarai's name would be changed to Sarah. God promised to bless Sarah and told Abraham that she would become pregnant and have a son.
Ah!
God made a covenant with Abraham, and God gave Abraham a way to show that he and his children were part of God's covenant. Abraham and Sarah did have a son named Isaac.
Ah!
God's promises came true for Abraham and Sarah. Abraham became the father of many nations, and from his child came children, and from their children more children, until Abraham's descendants were truly more numerous than the stars in the sky, just as the Lord had promised.
So, what were Abraham and Sarah waiting for? That's right, a baby! And did God keep His promise to give them a child? Yeah, He sure did. Abraham was a man who followed God, and God promised Abraham a new land and a family that would end up numbering more than the stars in the sky. But a lot of time passed between when God made that promise with Abraham and when Isaac was born. During that time of waiting, Abraham and Sarah tried to take matters into their own hands, which was a very bad choice. But Even when they were not waiting patiently, did God break his promise? No, not at all. We can trust that he'll always keep his promises. We can wait on God's timing. Say it with me again. That's our bottom line. We can wait on God's timing. So like I said, Isaac was in fact born, and he was an answer to years and years of prayer. He was also the beginning of God's chosen people, the nation of Israel. Starting with Isaac, God kept his promise and made Abraham's descendants more than the stars in the sky. Now, a descendant is somebody in your family who comes after you. Like you're a descendant of your parents and grandparents and great-grandparents and so on. So Abraham was going to have a lot of descendants. Whew! And one of those descendants is Jesus, who came to save us from the punishment of sin. So it may have been hard for Abraham and Sarah to wait patiently for God's promises to come true, but looking back, it was totally worth it. Take a moment and think about something you've been waiting for. Maybe it's something you've been waiting for God to do. Does it feel like he's not paying attention because you haven't gotten the answer you're looking for? Maybe you feel like if God was going to come through for you, he would have by now. Well, don't worry, because we can wait on God's timing. We can trust him. His timing is not the same as ours because his timing is better. Abraham and Sarah had to wait 25 years for the birth of Isaac. God might ask you to wait for some of his blessings and promises too. And it's possible that God's plan for your life does not include the thing you're asking or waiting for. So sometimes his answer for what we're asking for may be no. But either way, you can trust that his plan is best. Have you chosen to trust God with all of your life? Have you made the choice to wait on him with a good attitude, even if it means waiting a long time? When you start to feel impatient or have a bad attitude about having to wait for something, remember we can wait on God's timing. Then pray and ask him to help you wait and trust his plan for your life. Let's say that bottom line together again. Ready? We can wait on God's timing. All right, guys, see you later.